Hi, Georgetta Gankars here, and today I wanted to do a 15-minute video where we're painting, maybe for 10 minutes. And we're going to just do a wash today, and we're going to learn how to do it. We're going to do it in acrylics, and then later we'll do it in oils. So let's get started. So I'll show you my palette, and I have my tea white. I have my yellow, and this is a primary, but you could have a cad. I have orange, which I mix my apple crimson and my red, and this is more red and less yellow. And that's my apple crimson here, my red. And then I have my brown, and go a little bit closer because you can see there's two different types of brown. This one happens to be burnt sienna, and this one that I'm pointing to over here, you can see is a little bit darker, and that one happens to be a burnt umber. And then I have my different types of blues here, and I decided to go in the beginning with a phthalo blue, and then I have my ultramarine, and I have my dioxide purple here. So I'm going to get set up, and you notice that they're 2 inches apart. You can mix with the palette knife when you're mixing the colors. I am going to also just pick them up and use my brush, and I'm going to do it directly on the canvas here. And I have my 2 cups of water. And the palette knife that I like using when I'm mixing in this situation, I think I'm going to go for my half blade, or whatever's closest to me. So, because I really don't have that much to mix, it's not like a large amount of paint, so I'm probably going to use a half blade. And again, remember when you're mixing, you're mixing the 2 colors together, and you're giving you enough space on the palette. So let's get started. So I think that when I start landscapes and I'm doing them in oils and sometimes even acrylics, I'll put a dark red cover on top, and I'll kind of do my drawing and my outline, and I'll mask out the colors as far as knowing the values, which is darker, which is lighter. And I'll usually put like a burnt sienna, more of a red wash on top. We're going to skip that today because I'm just going to show you how to do the washes really fast. Okay? So I'll put a little bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use, I thought I was going to use my hack brush, but I'm debating which brush I'm going to use for my wash, because I want the colors to be really smooth. So I could use a bristle brush, but I'm going to use a synthetic. Okay, and you can see it's a flat. So let's get started right now. I'm going to dip my brush in my water. I'm going to wipe it off. The only thing about these synthetic brushes is they hold a lot of water, so you don't need a lot. And what I'm going to do is I want to have this blue wash, so I'm going to pick up a little bit of my ultramarine blue, only on the tip. And I think I'm going to, at the same time, I'm going to mix the blues, because I want to have my phthalo and my ultramarine blue mixed. And then I'm going to dip it in my water. I'm going to wipe it off with my rag. And I'll show you, I only have a little bit on the edges, okay? And I'm going to start that here, and I'm just going to go across the canvas. Okay, so now we're starting. We can say count. Now when I'm using these brushes, I don't like, again, getting a lot of water. This is why I like using natural hair brushes. But I want to show you something. If you put too much paint on the canvas, you could take a rag if you didn't like it, and I'll show you. And you can wipe it out. Right? And you still get like this wonderful, I'll show you, smooth transition if you want to. But we're going to go over this because we want to make it a little bit darker. And remember, I could add white to this if I wanted it more opaque, but I don't. I just want it to be, we're just doing these fast washes. Okay? And I'm dragging it back and forth, back and forth. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the brush, so I don't really have any strokes that are outstanding. The other thing is you need to clean your brush in between each color, making sure that you're not bringing an unwanted color in the color. That's if you don't want that, okay? Now I usually start with the light colors with the yellow, but I didn't. And now I'm going to bring down this yellow here, and you can see the yellow is right underneath of the blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this all the way across. And I think I'm going to bring it down to here. And again, I'm just making this landscape up out of my head. You know, you could be inspired by going to, I don't know, maybe one of your favorite parks or places, and, you know, kind of go with that, with the flow of what you feel that you want to paint. I'm going to add a little tea white in that. I'm going to soften it up, make it a little bit more opaque. And don't be upset if you add too much, you know, on your brush. You could always wipe it off again. You're just doing these washes. Now, where these two areas meet, I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to put a little tea white on my brush. I haven't cleaned it, as you can see. I'm just going across. And obviously, I don't want that line to be there. This is where I clean my brush really well. And again, you have to have a rag, you know. You have to have a rag where you can really get out all of the water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of blend these areas. And I'm going to bring the light color up into the darker. You can see I'm doing it very lightly here. Let's move it a little closer so you can see. And I want this to be a little bit green. And I'm moving this up. When these were colors, I'm inspired by colors that I actually saw in nature. So sometimes, you know, now we have a cell phone. We can take pictures of things that we see, which is wonderful. And we can go home and paint them if we want to. Most of the time, you know, I'm also painting directly there on location. And now we're going to add our oranges. And I'm going to add the orange first on the tip of my brush. That's a little bit brighter. And again, I'm doing this in, you know, 10 minutes or less, just showing you how to put these colors down. This is not an exact painting. If I was working on this, I'd work on it a lot longer. Just showing you how to get the basic of washes down and to make them perfect where you don't have these lines. Okay, a bristle brush is really good for doing a wash. You can use the synthetic brushes, but again, they retain a lot of water. Okay, and just make sure that you're going back and forth and you're making that very smooth. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up some brown at the bottom. I'm also painting sideways. I'm not even looking at the canvas, so kind of looking sideways. I'm not facing the canvas. Okay, I'm putting this darker area down here. And then I'm going to make it even darker with my dark brown. I'll have to hold it up, so I think that's out of your camera view. Now I could take a dry brush and blend these colors if I want to, which means a brush with no paint whatsoever, right? I just want to make sure that I'm bringing in all these colors. And I really want to start building up the colors because I'm deciding that maybe this is going to be like water. So I'm going to go back with that brown and I'm moving it throughout here. And you can see I get that texture right away. Okay, and then what I need to do is I kind of need to put something in the middle. So I think it's going to be a mountain or something. Could be whatever you like. I am going to make mine a mountain. Again, I'm going to use, and I'm going to wet the brush a little bit, put a little solvent, and I'm just going to do this very fast. I'm just making up these shapes. Again, I'm painting sideways. And just to give you an idea of how we get these washes really fast, I'm going to do one in oils, and I'm going to do one where I block it out with the red coloring, which I've done before, where I'm building up the color because I don't like working on a white canvas. So I'll show you how we can work without value scales, but we're not doing that now. We're just doing this. Okay, so we have these colors down. Then the next thing, and I have to turn the canvas a little bit toward me, sorry about that. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to start building it up because I think we have like, what, 5 minutes left. I'm going to do these brown areas at the bottom, and maybe this is going to be water. Like I said, you know, sunsets are a great time to take, you know, your easel out or just kind of look at the colors. Look at a lot of pictures, maybe look at calendars. It's better to go outside and observe it yourself, because when I'm painting, they're the first thing that change. They change so drastically because they have so many shadows in them, especially if you're, you know, painting at, depending on the time of day that you're painting, the morning and the evening, the shadows change drastically. So I'm just bringing this in here, and what I'm doing is I'm adding a little bit of the shadows now. And again, usually I would spend more time on this, right? I'm just trying to show you how to get these variations of colors in here very fast. And you can see we're building that up. And then I'm going to look for my areas that has a lot of light. And I'm thinking for the light, I'm going to bring down, of course, the color in the sky, which I have some yellow. And I'm sticking with these synthetic brushes, but I am going to do another video just with my bristle hair brushes. And I'm working wet on wet, so the blending is pretty easy. You have to be careful when you're working with these synthetic brushes when you're working wet on wet, because they do pick up. They can also take off the color if you're not applying enough paint on the canvas. But we'll make this light spot be in here. And again, this is just washes. This is going to dry, and we're going to build up on top of it. This is just what we can get in a short amount of time. And then I'm going to put some more orange on top. Make it a little thicker. And you can see how the difference in the paint when it's thick versus when it's thin. You can see how fast we can build up these areas. We're just trying to make them brighter. We're trying to bring some of this orange you see into this bottom area of this sun. Now, technically the blues would be down here. We didn't get to that point. I'm going to put some more oranges up here. And the oranges in the sky, I'm going to mix with a little bit of white. I'm just going to lightly put them. Now I'll show you, just so I can experiment here, we're going to use our fan brush. Remember the brush that looks like a fan? And I'm picking up my tea white at the end. Got a little bit of orange on there, so I've got orange and tea white. And I'm going to make these really wispy clouds that you kind of see, but they disappear a little bit into the sky. And I'm putting them on like this, you see? But I'm feathering them like this. So I'm putting them on like this, and then I'm kind of feathering them into the sky like this. I want to put some more orange maybe over here. Again, these are all make-believe clouds. I mean, they probably, if you're making your sky, you know, replicate what's in the water, right? You'd have to pull this color down because you'd have your reflections in the water. So let me move this over. I see we have a little bit of a sheen going on here, shine from the camera. And now we're kind of up to here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that dark blue again up here. I'm going to use a fan brush. Again, I'm applying it across, but I'm feathering it across. So I'm applying it like this, okay? But I'm feathering it like this, horizontal. I'm just doing it really fast. I haven't built up any kind of clouds or anything so far. This is just the sky, and I just want a really beautiful gradation here of these blues and greens. It's things that you might see in a sunset, you know. I'll show you. We're moving along here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this all together. Add some white. I'm going to start feathering it again with my fan brush and just layering it lightly on top and dragging that color down. As you would see a little bit of that color coming down here near the horizon line. And again, white is a good color to use on top. Makes everything opaque, and it blends it. We would see a little bit of that color removed. It's basically a transparent wash, so it's really thin. Okay, so I'll show you up close. You can see all these colors coming in the sky and how smooth they are. Right, and you look at the colors below. Okay, so one of the other things that we need to do, I want to show you with a fan brush that we can do, which is really cool. Make sure your brush is also clean. You know, I have a couple of brushes going at the same time. You can take the fan brush, right, and I'm going to dip it into my brown here. I have it on the tip, and I can go across. I'm going to do these waves pretty fast. I'm going to add some red to it maybe. And I'm just going to feather them across. And the cool thing about waves is when you see waves in the water, right? Some of them are thick and some of them are thin. So the cool thing about the fan brush is you can put the waves in at the same time, going across. You see I'm putting these waves in, going across. Okay? See that? But I can blend them at the same time. So if they're too thick, I can go back over them and feather them. It's really cool. That's why I love the fan brush. Now, obviously, I shouldn't have put any dark there, right? Because that's a light area. But we can fix that. I'm just doing it in the camera just to show you how you can add waves if you wanted to add these dark waves. These waves are really dark, right? They're way too dark. But I'll show you how we can resurrect that and fix it. And then you just want to blend them into each other. So I'll show you up close. You see how you can see some of them? Watch this. I can just pull it out and blend it. Isn't that cool? You know? And if you had a smaller fan brush, you can do it with many different colors. We can even put the yellow on top and bring back those highlights. And I'm just kind of going back and forth, just sweeping it. You know, you have to practice with your hand and see which works well for you. But practice sweeping and putting more of the color on and on top. And it's easy. We can still work wet on wet. It's really, you know, if you have oils, you're doing light layers. You're not putting thick layers on at this point, obviously. Right? You can build the paint thicker later using acrylics. It's kind of using the same kind of method. And again, I'll do another video where I'm painting, you know, I'm starting with a dark color and doing a wash of a light color on top. So you can see those colors coming through. We have a lot more layering to do. So anyway, if you wanted to, this is starting. We've got a long way to go. This would be like maybe, what, like 7 minutes or 10 minutes in. And this is the first one that I did. Let's see if we can see it here. Okay. And here's this one, and we didn't put the clouds, so let's just put the clouds. Why not? So I'm going to turn off this light. I don't think we need it. There we go. And let's make the clouds, I don't know, let's get creative, and let's make the clouds purple. Okay, I change my brush, and I think I'm going to have purple and white, and I'm going to put the purple and white, see if I can angle this out, in here. So you see the purple very lightly. See a little bit of it. And just feather it back and forth. You have these purple clouds coming in. And I'm going to have the purple bringing it down here. I just wanted to bring purple to show you that you can still see the purple. Do you see how you can wonderfully see that purple in there? It doesn't blend into this color that we have that's wet on top, which happens to be a green and a blue. And I'm bringing it down, look, on purpose into this yellow area to show you that you can blend. It's very possible to blend the colors and you don't have to end up with a brown. You know, it doesn't become muddy. You can really see that purple on top. And the secret is because I'm also adding this white. Okay? And I'm still blending it. We can blend it all into here. It's not a color I would want to use in this situation, but just to show you how you could layer one color on top of each other. And how you can see that purple coming through. And it doesn't mix with the color underneath. That's a very important point because I'm going to do it for you in oils and show you how to do it. It takes a lot of control with the brush to put these colors on top and not have them blend totally. And I can cover this. Watch this. I can do this with a blue and a white too, or more purple up here, and it doesn't affect anything. As long as we're working very slowly in washes, you know, there's no rush. And I feather my brush back and forth. But I tell students to practice, like on bristle paper first. Okay? And you can really bring out the colors. And we can even bring blue down here if we want. I'll show you. We can bring that purple down here. We can bring so many colors down into the sky if we wanted to. And we can just keep on layering it. And you can see the blue on top. I'll move the camera a little bit closer. I'm going to put a little bit of blue here. And although this wouldn't happen, right, I just want to show you how you can get those colors. Do you see that blue coming in there? Right? And I'm just going to work on this. So again, this is just a start, you know, just doing a wash very, very fast. How to blend the two colors. It's not really anything special, but I just wanted to show you the properties of the brush and the idea of blending. Okay, and again, this is the one that we started with in the other video, and this one took us about 10 minutes too. It's just layering on top and practicing, noticing that when I have my purple here, you know, and the purple here, there's a green underneath. This green was made by combining this yellow and this blue when it blended, but I was able to put this purple on top and, you know, this lavender color and still keep the property of it. It didn't turn brown at all. Okay, so that's something. And remember your light source of where the light is coming down, and try that in washes. And, you know, comment below, tell me what you think. If you just tried something like this, you could try it on, you don't have to waste your canvas, you could do it on watercolor paper. And just tell me what you think. And I'm going to work on this one, and I'll show you what it looks like in about another 10 minutes, and I'll work on it more. It drastically change. Okay, have a great day. Ciao.